Hey Trekkies, Christian Fox here with another video for you. Today, I want to talk all things generations and what I love about it because of the recent 30th anniversary. First, let's address the big ol' elephant in the room. Star Trek Generations is by no means a truly spectacular film, but at the same time, it's also not the worst. It's not the motion picture, it's not Nemesis. In fact, I would say it ranks among the most mediocre of the Trek films, right there with Insurrection. But all that being said, I still love it and enjoy getting my Generations fix when the mood strikes. If you're new to Trek or just not as well versed with the films, Generations is the seventh film in the series and the first to feature Picard and the Next Generation gang. Generations was released in theaters on November 18th, 1994, and grossed $118 million, which is pretty good, especially against its $35 million budget. The big selling point of Generations was that it brought Captain Picard and Captain Kirk together. While super cool on paper, it to me is the weakest aspect of the film. But that's for a whole other video. Generations also features the devastating but amazing destruction of the Enterprise D. Now, I could provide a litany of problems with Generations, but because I'm a positive guy, I'm going to be talking about the things that I love about it. And the first thing I love about Generations is the lighting. The lighting in the movie is moody, stunningly beautiful, and shockingly different from anything that we've seen in Star Trek. For the past 7 years, in 1994, fans were used to the super bright, even lighting of the show. Every character was lit the same, every set was lit the same, and very rarely did we get moody lighting. But Generations is a whole different beast. Director David Carson and cinematographer John A. Alonso made extensive use of shadow and motivated lighting. And motivated lighting is just a fancy term for lighting that is seemingly generated by something that is visible on screen. One of the best examples of this is when Picard is opening up to Troy about the loss of his nephew, brother, and sister-in-law. In this scene, Picard's cabin is drenched in yellow golden light coming from the nearby Amargosa star. Combine that with heavy shadows, and you have a beautifully lit scene that simultaneously acknowledges that the Enterprise is near a star and visually depicts Picard's pain. This is made even better when Picard moves to a shadow and then back into the light. This type of lighting is seen all throughout the ship and is still stunning, even after the star explodes. And the really crazy thing about the lighting is that it was all done to try and hide the fact that the sets themselves were designed for 4x3 TVs and not massive movie theater screens. Lighting in Generations is amazing. And next, we have Data's arc. Data is my favorite character in Star Trek, so it's no surprise that I love Data's story in Generations. Early in the TNG portion, Data installs the emotion chip that his father gave him in Season 4. At first, it's all smiles, with Data making really bad jokes and laughing too long, but it isn't too long before Data realizes the seriousness of his situation. While investigating the Amargosa Observatory, Generations villain Soren attacks Geordi and Data. During the ensuing firefight between Worf, Riker, and Soren, Data is paralyzed by fear and unable to save Geordi. Data is then plagued by guilt and unable to focus on work. Seeing Data finally get what he's always wanted and then work through the seriousness of human emotion is incredibly satisfying. Data's happy cry upon finding Spot is the cherry on top. Also, it gives Brent Spiner a chance to showcase his non-stop talent by playing Data as someone with emotion while not losing the essence of Data. And yes, I say this completely acknowledging the difficulties that the emotion chip created in the preceding films. And finally, the Enterprise battle and crash. Star Trek is known for its wacky sci-fi and complex ethical and moral discussions, but not so much for its action and space battles. Of course, there are some really great ones, Wrath of Khan, First Contact, and DS9, but it's not really the selling point of the series. That honor belongs to Star Trek's frenemy, Star Wars. But Generations, in my opinion, has one of the best ship battles in the franchise. Yes, the ship movement itself isn't that incredible and does make Riker look like a bit of a doofus, but it's a lot of fun to watch. In-universe, the damage is much more visceral and severe because the Duras sisters were able to match their weapons frequency to the D's shield's frequency, but in real life, it's all because of their sweet, sweet movie budget. I also have to give props to the fight for being on the shorter end and not too long like the final battle of Nemesis. But of course, the battle leads to my favorite thing about the film, and that is the destruction of the Enterprise D. The Enterprise D is one of the most iconic ships in Trek and sci-fi overall, so seeing its destruction in TNG's first feature film has to be on point, and it absolutely is. There are just so many things that I love about the crash. The panic of the civilians, the calm of the bridge crew, the whole sequence of the saucer crashing on Viridian 3, just all of that was so, so well done. I can't even begin to think about the technical wizardry that was involved in making it work, and I'm still blown away by how good it looks 30 years later. And the moment that ties the crash together and makes the whole ordeal worth it is Riker looking up at the skylight and seeing the skies instead of the stars. It's touching and really makes you feel the loss of the ship. So there you have it, my favorite things about Star Trek Generations. But what do you think? Do you agree? Are you outraged? Let me know, and I'll see you in the next video.